Hey YouTube, Tokyo here, and as far as we know, Earth is the only planet, at least in the solar system, to have ever harbored life. Or is it? Because although we may think of Mars and Venus even today as hellish lands, particularly Venus with its atmosphere hot enough to melt lead over 400 degrees Celsius and about 100 times stronger atmospheric pressure than Earth, so you'd literally just be crushed. And for Mars, of course, it is 10 to 20 degrees colder than Earth, and it's just a huge desert, basically. However, that was not always the case. If you had to go back 4 billion years ago, the Earth would look like hell. The temperature on the Earth's surface would be hundreds of degrees, if not thousands. It's likely at this point the Earth's surface was still liquid and like lava, basically. However, Mars and Venus were actually covered with liquid water. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they had life, of course, because just because there's liquid water doesn't mean that life is going to form, but it means that it was rather likely, at least, on Venus and Mars, that there was life all this time ago. An asteroid that landed in Antarctica that was launched from Mars when a meteor crashed into Mars' surface and caused debris to fly out, which eventually hit Earth, had these objects discovered on it. And these objects looked like bacteria fossils. And this was discovered all the way back in the 1990s. And this could show evidence of life on Mars. However, of course, it's not conclusive because we don't exactly have a time machine or anything to go back there. We don't have much to know about Venus, though, because if there were any fossils or any evidence of life left on the planet, they'd probably been destroyed by the billions of years of hell that the planet has experienced since then. Now, Earth is able to harbour life because of its magnetic field that keeps away the sun's deadly rays and solar wind. However, Venus heated up to hundreds of degrees, of course, and Mars, its core actually cooled down, unlike the Earth's, and when it cooled down enough, the molten iron in the core was no longer able to sustain its magnetic field, and that's why it doesn't have one today. And because of this, it's likely that any life that was on the planet wouldn't have been able to adapt and just simply would have died. And the planet has cooled down because of this as well, as its atmosphere was blown away, or most of it was, so there's less air, there's less of a greenhouse effect to keep in heat on the planet, the opposite of what Earth is currently having. And so today, Venus is hell on Earth, as I said, and Mars is just a big desert. But there is still a chance that in the past they had life, and in the future they could even have life again.